Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video. My name is Joe, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how I created this scene right here. So basically for this scene, all I really wanted to achieve was the snowy look, and I also wanted it to be high fidelity because for most of my scenes I always tend to half-ass it in a way and try to cheat my way around it. So what I started with was basically modeling the hero building of the scene, right? So I was basically walking through this entire scene with a couple of references. I already had a little idea of what I wanted to achieve, but then I was still kind of making design decisions on the fly just so that I can keep it as spontaneous as possible. So for this building, I already had a reference that I was working with, but then the style I was going for was a kind of brutalist style of strong building, something that shows a really strong base and a really tall structure, basically. So you see me duplicating a lot of things, creating Boolean objects in a lot of them, and also trying to just make sure that the surface is as free as possible, just so that it shows the strength of the building. So right here, I'm just cutting out windows and cutting out different shapes of the building, something that would actually suggest that, this building is bigger than it seems, because when you have a large structure, the best way to make it look bigger than it seems is to make as much detail as possible in the building. You have small details and you also have medium level details. So once you immediately get like the block out of the building, it's good to start bringing in these small details and medium level details. So for right here, talking about the small level details, you would see me creating an inset in those faces just so that I can make those small details actually add to the massiveness of the building, right? So for those small holes, you would see me revisit it and try to put an emission inside there. All of that is trying to make sure that this doesn't look like a miniature. So for the most early stage of this video, there's a lot of asset modeling that's going on. I think I modeled about maybe 2 or 3 structures. The rest were just assets that I had already. Why I did this was because I really wanted to art direct the building for it to all feel like it's all from one collection. I think I was successful at that a little bit, even though there were some of the building that were not that art directed, but to a certain extent, let's say 70%, I was able to achieve that in a way. So just to even add tinier details, you'll see me add an antenna to the roof of the building, something that just makes it look, massive also, like just electrical poles at the top of the building. So this is the second structure. This structure, I think the intention was just creating something like a dam. It wasn't it's supposed to be like a residential kind of setup. So you just see me doing very, very basic insets and extrusion. Right here, I just created a curve object, but in order to achieve that, I brought in a cube. These are all the vertices to the center, and I extruded that and just beveled those vertices, converted that to a curve, and that's it. So this plugin right here was really instrumental in me being able to quickly texture this object. The name of this plugin is called Random Flow. It's by a Blender OG called, I think it's Blender Goopy, and that is a really good plugin and really helped me with texture in this things. So right here, you will see me applying that add-on I still talked about. So in order to just make the whole process fast, that's why I had to use that add-on tool for the detailing. Same thing with this other structure, I did the same thing. So also from that add-on, I was still also able to create some cabling also. It randomizes all of those placement for you. That's really the good thing about that plugin. It helps you with details a lot. So right now I'm going on to composition and just starting to put the entire scene together. What I did was that I had this snow mountain that I already had as an asset. I just brought it in and started fiddling around with it, trying to place it. Over there, you see me that I also decimated the mountain because I knew I was going to use it a lot and spamming it around. So that was just me trying to reduce the amount of polygons. So right here, I'm just running a test render just to see what these things look like before I went on to, actually placing objects around. Because I don't want this to go too far, before I realized that I've not textured, I actually started texturing almost immediately, just so that I can get a feel for how the textures work on the building and how they define the scale of the building. So right here, I'm isolating the edges of this building with ambient occlusion, just so that I can be able to apply a different color to you, just so it looks like the building is old and is wearing and tearing also. So right here, I'm trying to create some piping system to this entire thing. And I really don't have a design reason why I did this other than trying to just fill out the scene. Maybe that dam I created, I think a design rationale will be, trying to create an outlet for the water generated in that dam, right? Or maybe an inlet because dam needs water. So I think that will just be an explanation for that. This is a really long video, and personally I've been thinking about my video formats, and I've been trying to find a balance between what's easy for me and what's also valuable to you guys. but it's been really difficult. I really hope I can figure out a way to actually create that balance between what's valuable to you guys and what's kind of easy for me to produce. So I noticed that there were light in those strips right there, and I was trying to switch off the light, but it never did until I don't know if you know this shortcut. You can use Ctrl Plus to select more. So I just did that, and I was able to select more of those vertices and change the texture to something else. So this is me just populating the water body also with some of the ice, just so that it actually doesn't just look like a lake. Like, it shows that, okay, the ice from the mountain a bit broken towards the water body. That's the kind of illusion I was trying to create. So right here, I was trying to make this structure more interesting, but when I started placing it around, I noticed that, okay, no, I don't think it actually looks good. So you'll notice that at the end of the render, I turned off all those extra lights. So right here, I was trying to isolate the top part of this structure, just so I show that, there are eyes on it. And how I did that was to you isolate the normal, and then you separate the z-axis by using separate XYZ. So you have access to the top part and just use that as a factor, and then you can just create snow as an object. So still on that brutalism kind of theme of building, I really think I nailed it with this building structure behind. That is a really, really good brutalism structure, and I used that for a building that is directly behind the main building, and I think it added to the entire render by just keeping the theme consistent. The other ones, they were looking more like modern structures, so I think at some point I did swap them out or maybe hide them in the render so you won't easily notice. So right here, I was trying to give the hero building like a different color, just so it pops out in the render a bit more. Because if I had all of the structure just one color, I felt like there would be no main focal point of the entire render, right? In hindsight, that was probably a mistake, because now I'm looking at this render, it feels like there are so many different focal point that is vying for your attention. You have the negative space. The negative space over there is that negative space of the sky. That's like a focal point and it's drawing your attention. The guy that is on, the structure, where there is also a primary focus of the render. Then we have the building. So that's like 3 primary focus, and that's not a good composition. Usually you should just have one focus and then the others are secondary, they're secondary in the entire render. But I felt like it looked good in the render, so I kind of went on with it, but functionally that's not the right thing to do. So right here I'm lighting, and a lot of the lighting in this render was carried by using a gobo. There's a gobo textured light online that you can use and add to your asset browser, and anytime you need it, you can just drag one and drop and just set it moving. So right here, you'll see me bringing on fog planes, and I don't think I said it now. I said it earlier. So these fog planes are just to simulate an illusion that there is much more fog in the scene, and it actually adds a lot of depth to the scene. So you would see me use that add-on fog planes to just easily bring fog into the scene. So apart from the volumetric fog, I also have fog planes to add the depth of the scene. So right here, I was thinking of bringing in the boats into the scene, but then I didn't move on with it, and I think I did that because of the focal point issue. There were just a lot of focal points in composition, and bringing in a boat will add another attraction to the entire, render. So I just took it out. Here, I'm lighting the guy just so that it stands out a bit more in the render. So I have one light tracked to him. So that's a spotlight, and I have it just tracked on empty that is on his area. So that light just focuses on him alone. So right here, I'm adjusting the edge wear that I created with the ambient illusion, because I noticed it wasn't showing out in the render, because I wanted to make these things look like they're actually worn out. So I actually tried to adjust the color ramp just so that these edge wears actually show out in the render, and that's what I'm doing here right now. I had already rendered, I think, a 4K or 8K render, and I brought it into Photoshop just to add some post-processing to it, and maybe a little bit of color, which is something I didn't do in Blender, and I knew I was going to do it in Photoshop. So you see me pumping up clarity and texture, and also bringing the temperature down a bit, just so it makes the environment look cooler and colder. And then I added a little bit of vignettes. Then I also went on to use contrast and white balance to make sure the image pops. And this is the before and after of the image. And so I think right here I'm just trying to create a thumbnail that I can use for YouTube. So that's about it, guys. So long, and until I see you in the next one. Peace.